High ethereal Zephmore floated in the center of the Grand Alliance war room, its silver form flickering with agitation. Around the chamber, holographic projections of 37 species leaders argued and planned. The humans had shaken their comfortable galaxy, and now these ancient civilizations were uniting for the first time in centuries. The human threat must be eliminated, declared War Master Crix of the Arachnid Collective. His 8 eyes gleamed with hunger for battle. They have shown they can defeat the Vorthak. If we allow this to continue, they will think they can defeat anyone. Agreed, hissed Trademaster Slick from the Zephyrian Union. Humans have disrupted the natural order. They pretend to be merchants and farmers, but they are clearly a military species in disguise. General Vex Prime of the Crystalline Confederation spoke, her glass-like voice ringing through the chamber. Our combined fleets number over 10,000 ships. Humanity has perhaps 200 combat vessels. The mathematics are simple. Zephmore's ancient mind touched each of the assembled leaders. For 3,000 years, it had guided galactic civilization through careful manipulation and subtle control. The humans were the first species that had ever surprised it, and it did not like surprises. The plan is agreed, Zephmore announced. Simultaneous strikes against all human positions. We crush their military capability before they can respond. What none of them knew was that Admiral Sujin Bei was listening to every word they spoke, high above Earth. Aboard the command ship Incheon Rising, the Admiral sat in her command chair watching intelligence reports stream across multiple screens. Intelligence Chief Kyung-Soo An stood beside her, pointing out key details. The Grand Alliance thinks they're being clever, he said. Secret meeting, encrypted communications, hidden base locations. They have no idea we've been monitoring their networks for decades. Overconfidence, Admiral Bay replied. They still think we're primitive newcomers who stumbled onto advanced technology. On the main screen, a tactical display showed the positions of every Allied fleet. The aliens had spread their forces across 50 star systems, planning to hit human colonies simultaneously. It was a good strategy, if your enemy was unprepared. Ma'am, called Captain Sung-Ho Park from the communications station. Field Marshal Shin reports all ground forces are ready. Dr. Ryu confirms that the resonance weapons are fully charged. And our special guests? Intelligence Chief An smiled. The Mollusk Federation, the gaseous entities, and the Neutral Worlds Coalition are standing by. They remember who treated them fairly during trade negotiations. Admiral Bay nodded. While the major powers had been planning humanity's destruction, the smaller species had been quietly choosing sides. Humans had spent 50 years building genuine friendships, not just alliances of convenience. Begin Operation Mirror, she ordered. Across the galaxy, human forces moved with perfect coordination. But they weren't attacking the Grand Alliance fleets. Instead, they were revealing information that had been carefully gathered and saved for exactly this moment. On Arachnid Prime, every communication screen suddenly displayed evidence of War Master Crix's secret deals with human weapons manufacturers. The proud warrior had been buying human technology, while publicly calling humans weak. In Zephyrian space, Trademaster Slick's financial records appeared on public networks. The records showed he had been stealing from the Union Treasury to buy property in human colonies. The leader who claimed to hate humanity had been planning to retire among them. The Crystalline Confederation's military networks were flooded with documents proving that General Vex Prime had been sharing classified information with ethereal agents for centuries. The supposedly independent crystallines were actually ethereal puppets. Sir, reported communications specialist Dayun Im from her station aboard a human intelligence ship, we're detecting massive civil unrest across Allied territories. Internal security forces are arresting their own leaders. Field Marshal Young-Suk Shin's voice came over the communication system from a ground command post. Operation Mirror is proceeding perfectly. The Alliance isn't fighting us, they're fighting each other. But the humans weren't just spreading information. They were also demonstrating their true military capabilities. Dr. Hyun-Woo Ryu had created weapons specifically designed to exploit each species' biological and technological weaknesses. When ethereal forces tried to use their mental powers against human troops, they discovered that human minds could not only resist telepathic attacks, but actually reflect them back. Impossible, Zephmore screamed as its own telepathic assault bounced off human soldiers and struck allied crystalline forces instead. The ancient being had never experienced mental feedback before, and the pain was overwhelming. In the asteroid fields of Sector 7, crystalline ships found their nearly indestructible hulls cracking under resonance weapons, tuned specifically to their molecular structure. General Vex Prime watched in horror as her invincible fleet shattered like glass under precise sonic attacks. The Arachnid Collective's insect-like warriors discovered that human soldiers could fight effectively in any environment. When Arachnid forces tried to use their natural advantages in low-gravity combat, they found human troops using thruster packs and magnetic boots to move through three-dimensional battlefields with deadly precision. How are they adapting so quickly? War Master Krix demanded as his forces retreated from a human mining colony that had turned out to be a fully armed fortress. Because they studied us while we ignored them, replied Captain Mi Young Lee of the Soul's Vengeance. Every cultural exchange, every trade negotiation, every diplomatic meeting was also a learning opportunity. The turning point came when the gaseous entities and the Mollusk Federation openly joined the human side. These species had been treated as equals by humanity, while the Grand Alliance had always seen them as inferior beings useful only for manual labor. Captain Insu Kim of the Busan Thunder coordinated with gaseous entity ships to surround an ethereal battle group. The ancient beings had never faced an enemy that could attack them on both physical and energy-based levels simultaneously. "This is impossible," Zephmore broadcast to all allied forces. "We are the oldest species in the galaxy. We have guided civilization for millennia." "That's your problem," Admiral Bay replied over an open channel. "You're old, but you stopped learning. You became so comfortable in your superiority that you never prepared for someone who might be different. Human forces were demonstrating advantages that no allied species had expected. Human soldiers could fight in vacuum, underwater, in crushing gravity, and in toxic atmospheres. Their ships could operate in cosmic radiation fields that would kill most alien crews. Their weapons adapted in real time to whatever defenses they encountered. But most importantly, humans fought as teams. While allied species maintained their individual fighting styles, human forces operated with seamless coordination across multiple species barriers. Human commanders worked effectively with mollusk artillery specialists and gaseous entity reconnaissance units. "Sir," reported Tactical Officer Jun Ho Shin aboard the Daegu Rising, "the Crystalline Third Fleet is requesting terms of surrender. So is the Arachnid 7th Army," added Lieutenant Commander Haya Jin. Nam from a ground command post, Admiral Bay looked at the tactical display. Red markers showing Allied forces were changing to yellow surrender indicators across dozens of star systems. The Grand Alliance was collapsing as species realized they had seriously underestimated humanity. "Open a channel to all Allied commanders," she ordered. The communication system crackled to life, carrying her voice across the galaxy. "This is Admiral Sujin Bay of the Earth Defense Force. To all species currently fighting against humanity, your leaders lied to you. They told you we were weak, primitive, dangerous, but they never told you we were prepared." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We don't want to destroy your civilizations. We don't want to conquer your worlds. We want justice for Jinwu Park, and we want recognition that humans are equal partners in this galaxy, not junior members or servants. But," she continued, "if you insist on treating us as enemies, you will learn that humans are very, very good at war. The choice is yours." Across the galaxy, Allied fleets began standing down. The species that had united to crush humanity were learning that unity meant nothing when it was built on lies and underestimation. High Ethereal Zephmore, its silver form dimming with defeat, sent a final message. "What do you want from us, humans?" "The same thing Jinwu Park wanted," Admiral Bay replied. "Respect, cooperation, and justice. The difference is now you know what happens when you refuse to give it." The Grand Alliance was broken, not by superior numbers or better technology, but by human patience, preparation, and the simple truth that those who choose peace are often the most dangerous when forced to choose war. Captain Hyun-Soo Kang stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Vorthak Prime grow larger on the main screen. The planet looked like a red and brown marble, scarred by industrial cities and military bases. It was home to 12 billion Vorthak warriors who believed they were the strongest species in the galaxy. They were about to learn otherwise. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Yunbi, song from her tactical station. Enemy fleet is moving to intercept. 43 Vorthak warships including their flagship Blood of Conquest. Good, Hyunsu replied. Let them come to us. His fleet looked small compared to the Vorthak armada, only 12 ships against 43. But appearances could be deceiving. The humans had learned that lesson well over the past 50 years. Sir, called Communications Officer Daeun Im, we're receiving a transmission from the Vorthak flagship. Put it through. The main screen switched to show Commander Thekval's scarred face. Behind him, the bridge of his ship bustled with activity as Vorthak warriors prepared for battle. Human captain, Thekval snarled, you have made a serious mistake coming here. This is Vorthak space. You will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Commander Thekval, Hyunsu said calmly, I am Captain Kang of the Earth Defense Force. You murdered my brother Jinwoo Park at mining station Kepler 442b. I'm here to arrest you for that crime. Thekval laughed, showing his sharp teeth. Your brother was weak prey just like you. The Vorthak do not surrender to inferior species. Jinwoo wasn't weak, Hyunsu replied. He was kind. He was patient.
He believed in peace.
Those aren't weaknesses, they're choices. Today humanity makes a different choice. The transmission ended. Hyunsu turned to his crew, all of whom were watching him with quiet determination. These men and women had volunteered for this mission knowing they might not return home. But they also knew that Jinwoo Park deserved justice. Chief Engineer Wu. Hyunsu called to the woman manning the engineering station. Yes, sir. Boram Wu replied. Are the adaptive shields ready? All systems green, Captain. Jinwoo's shield technology is online and responding normally. Hyunsu felt a surge of bitter pride. His brother had been working on adaptive defense systems when he died. The research was supposed to protect mining stations from asteroid impacts and solar flares. Instead, it would be used to protect warships from alien weapons. Weapon status? He asked. All batteries charged and ready, Yunbi reported. Resonance weapons are locked onto target frequencies. The Vorthak fleet was spreading out trying to surround the human ships. It was a classic warrior tactic. Use superior numbers to overwhelm the enemy from all sides. Against most opponents, it would work perfectly. They're not taking us seriously, observed navigator Jaemin Seo. That's what I'm counting on, Hyunsu said. The first Vorthak attack came exactly as expected. Energy beams and plasma missiles streaked toward the human fleet from 3 directions. The aliens whooped and roared, expecting to see human ships explode in brilliant flashes. Instead, the beams struck the human shields and simply stopped. The energy weapons hit barrier fields that absorbed the incoming power, analyzed it, and adjusted to counter it. Within seconds, the shields were perfectly tuned to deflect Vorthak weapons. Impossible, came Thekval's voice over the communication channel. No shields can adapt that quickly. Human shields can, Hyunsu replied. My brother designed them. He was studying Vorthak energy signatures for 5 years, learning exactly how your weapons work. The human fleet began to move, but not in any formation the Vorthak recognized. Instead of charging forward or retreating, they spread out in a complex pattern that seemed random. What are they doing? Demanded Thekval. He got his answer when the human ships opened fire. The weapons weren't the simple energy beams or kinetic projectiles most species used. Instead, they fired focused resonance waves that matched specific frequencies. When they hit Vorthak ships, the hulls began to vibrate and crack along their molecular structure. Report, Thekval shouted as his ship shuddered under the strange attack. Sir, their weapons are targeting our hull composition directly, his tactical officer replied in panic. They're causing structural failures at the atomic level. 3 Vorthak ships broke apart as their hulls couldn't handle the resonance stress. The warriors inside died not in glorious battle, but in the cold vacuum of space as their mighty warships crumbled around them. How do they know our ship construction methods? Thekval demanded. Because humans have been repairing Vorthak vessels at neutral stations for 15 years, Daeun Im answered over the open channel. Every time you brought a damaged ship to our mechanics, we learned more about your technology. The battle was turning into a rout. Vorthak warriors were brave and skilled, but they had never faced an enemy that understood them so completely. The human ships moved like they knew exactly what the Vorthak would do next. Because they did, sir, Yunbi called out. We're receiving surrender signals from 12 enemy vessels. Jam their communications, Hyunsu ordered. I want them to hear this. He opened a channel to the entire Vorthak fleet. Warriors of the hegemony, you are brave fighters, but you made a mistake. You thought killing one human would show the galaxy your strength. Instead, it showed us your weakness. On the main screen, he could see Vorthak ships trying to retreat, but human vessels were already moving to surround them. Your weakness isn't in your bodies or your weapons, Hyun-Soo continued. Your weakness is in your thinking. You see only enemies or prey. You never learn to see partners or friends. Another group of Vorthak ships surrendered as human resonance weapons disabled their engines without destroying them. The humans were being precise, surgical. They weren't trying to kill every Vorthak in the fleet. They were trying to capture them. Jinwoo Park spent 5 years learning about your culture, your technology, your way of thinking. Not so he could destroy you, but so he could work with you. When you killed him, you killed someone who understood you better than you understand yourselves. Thekval's flagship was now alone, surrounded by human ships. The rest of his fleet had either surrendered or been disabled. The mighty Vorthak armada had been defeated by 12 human vessels. Commander Thekval, Hyun-Soo said, you have a choice. Surrender now and face trial for murder or continue fighting and die in the wreckage of your ship. I am Vorthak, Thekval roared. We do not surrender. Yes, you do, Hyun-Soo replied sadly. You just never learned the difference between surrender and defeat. The human ships fired once more. But instead of destroying Thekval's flagship, they disabled its weapons, engines, and life support systems. The great warrior found himself floating helpless in space, surrounded by enemies he had underestimated. Boram Wu activated the tractor beam, pulling the Vorthak flagship toward the human fleet. Boarding party's ready, Captain. No, Hyun-Soo said quietly. We're not boarding their ship. His crew looked confused. Commander Thekval killed my brother on a mining station. He will be arrested on a mining station. Hyun-Soo turned to Da-un. Contact mining station Echo 7. Tell them to prepare a holding facility. Echo 7 was a human mining operation in neutral space. It looked almost exactly like the station where Jinwoo had died. Thekval would spend his captivity doing the same work Jinwoo had been doing when he was murdered. Sir, Yunbi said quietly, the other Vorthak commanders are requesting permission to retrieve their survivors. Permission granted, but they leave their weapons behind. As the battle ended, Hyun-Soo looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien species were watching and learning. The weak humans had just defeated the strongest warriors in the galaxy without losing a single ship. Captain, Da-un reported, we're receiving messages from across the galaxy. Species that saw the battle footage are asking about human intentions. Tell them, Hyun-Soo said, that humans seek justice, not conquest, but also tell them that we're prepared for both. The message was sent across the galaxy within hours. Earth's retaliation had begun with the capture of one murderer. But every alien species was now asking the same question. If humans could do this to the mighty Vorthak, what could they do to everyone else? The answer would come soon enough. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with conversation as representatives from 47 species took their seats. The massive hall was built inside a hollow asteroid, with viewing ports showing the stars beyond. For 300 years, this had been the center of galactic civilization. Ambassador Tae-hyun Lee walked slowly to the human delegation area. He could feel alien eyes watching him from every direction. Some looked curious, others seemed amused. A few appeared hostile. None of them looked worried. The Vorthak delegation sat in the warrior section, their green scales gleaming under the chamber lights. Commander Thekval sat among them, wearing new rank insignia. He had been promoted after killing Jinwoo Park. The Vorthak saw murder as proof of strength. High ethereal Zephmore called the session to order. The ancient being looked like silver mist given form floating above a crystal platform. Its voice reached every mind in the chamber through telepathy rather than sound. We gather to address the human complaint regarding recent events at mining station Kepler 442b. The humans claim that their citizen was unlawfully killed by Vorthak forces. Murmurs filled the chamber. Several alien delegates made sounds that might have been laughter. The Vorthak position is clear, Zephmore continued. Commander Thekval was maintaining order in territory claimed by the hegemony. The human Jinwoo Park interfered with legitimate military operations and was dealt with accordingly. Delegate Vex Prime of the Crystalline Confederation spoke, her voice like breaking glass. The humans are newcomers to galactic society. Perhaps they need time to understand how territorial disputes are resolved. Indeed, hissed Trademaster Slick from the Zephyrian Union. Humans have been successful merchants. But they seem confused about the realities of power. More laughter echoed through the chamber. Taehyun sat quietly watching and listening. He had requested this emergency session, knowing exactly what would happen. These aliens saw humans as useful but ultimately weak. They were about to learn otherwise. Zephmore addressed him directly. Ambassador Lee, you may present the human position. Taehyun stood and walked to the central speaking platform. He moved slowly, calmly, like a man with all the time in the world. When he reached the center of the chamber, he looked around at the alien faces surrounding him. Honored delegates, he began. For 50 years, humanity has been proud to participate in galactic civilization. We have shared our technology, our culture, and our resources. We have been your farmers, your miners, your traders, and your builders. Yes, interrupted Thekval from the Vorthak section. You have been useful servants. But servants should know their place. Several aliens made approving sounds. Taehyun nodded as if agreeing. You're right, Commander. Humans should know our place in the galaxy. The problem is, I don't think you understand what our place really is. Before anyone could respond, Taehyun activated his communicator. General Park, please show our friends what they've been missing. Holographic displays suddenly filled the chamber, showing real-time images from across the galaxy. The aliens watched in growing confusion as peaceful human settlements transformed before their eyes. On Kepler Prime, farming equipment folded away to reveal missile batteries. Agricultural warehouses opened to show military vehicles. The peaceful farmers were putting on combat armor and taking positions around defensive installations. At New Sol Station, cargo ships were shedding their outer hulls to reveal sleek warships underneath. Mining equipment was converting into weapon platforms. The harmless merchants were suddenly armed with technology the aliens had never seen before. Similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. Human colonies that had seemed vulnerable and isolated were revealing hidden defenses, underground bunkers, and sophisticated military networks. What is this? Demanded Zephmore, its silver form flickering with agitation. This is 50 years of preparation, Taehyun replied calmly. While you built fleets to conquer, we built them to defend. While you fought each other for territory, we made alliances. Every human settlement, every trade agreement, every cultural exchange was also reconnaissance. Dr. Ji-Hoon Yu, Earth's chief strategist, materialized as a hologram next to Taehyun. We know your military capabilities, your supply routes, your political weaknesses. We've been studying you since the day we met you. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Several delegates were shouting accusations of deception and trickery. You lied to us, screeched the arachnid representative. No, Taehyun said firmly. We were exactly what we claimed to be. Farmers, miners, traders, and builders. We just never told you we were also soldiers. Commander Thekval stood up, his claws clicking against his weapon. Human tricks mean nothing. The Vorthak have the strongest military in the galaxy. We fear no one. Commander, Taehyun said, looking directly at him. You killed Jinwoo Park because you thought humans were weak. You wanted to teach us a lesson about power. Well, class is now in session. A new holographic display appeared showing the Vorthak home system. Thekval's confidence faded as he saw human ships emerging from the asteroid fields where they had been hidden for years. The vessels looked like standard human designs, but they were moving in perfect formation with tactical precision no merchant fleet should possess. Impossible, Thekval whispered. How long have you been watching us? Since our second trade mission to Vorthak Prime, Taehyun answered. 15 years ago. Your security is excellent against direct attacks, but you never thought to look for patient observers. General Do-Yoon Park's image appeared in the chamber. Commander Thekval, you are under arrest for the murder of Jinwoo Park, violation of galactic mining agreements and crimes against interspecies peace. You will surrender immediately. I will not surrender to weak humans, Thekval snarled. Then you will be taken by force, General Park replied. Your fleet is already surrounded. The display showed Vorthak warships trying to form battle lines, but human vessels were appearing from every direction. They had been hiding in plain sight as asteroids, debris, and even camouflaged bases on Vorthak moons. High ethereal Zephmore's form flickered rapidly. This is an act of war against the entire galactic community. No, Taehyun said. This is justice for one murdered human, but if you want to make it bigger, we're ready for that too. Dr. Hyunwoo Ryu appeared as another hologram. The Ethereal Confederation's energy-based physiology has some interesting vulnerabilities. Would you like a demonstration? Zephmore went silent. Delegate after delegate tried to speak, but each time they made threats, new holographic displays showed human forces positioned near their home systems. The weak humans had been everywhere, watching everything, preparing for this moment. How? Asked Vex Prime of the Crystalline Confederation. How did you hide all of this? We didn't hide it, Taehyun explained. We just let you see what you expected to see. You thought humans were peaceful because we chose cooperation over conquest. You thought we were weak because we preferred trade to war. He paused, looking around the chamber. But you forgot something important. Every species in this chamber became spacefaring through conflict. You built your civilizations on the bones of your enemies. Humans are different. We became strong by protecting each other. Captain Hyun-Soo Kang's image appeared. Jinwoo Park died trying to make peace. He believed that different species could work together, respect each other, build something better than what came before. Your brother was wrong, Thekval said. No, Hyun-Soo replied. He was right. But he was also naive. He thought everyone shared his values. Today you learn what happens when you kill someone who believed in peace. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. For 50 years, these aliens had seen humans as useful junior partners. Now they were learning that the junior partners had been preparing for war while hoping for peace. What do you want? Zephmore finally asked. Taehyun looked around the chamber one more time. We want justice for Jinwoo Park. We want Commander Thekval to stand trial for murder. And we want every species in this chamber to understand that humans are not weak prey. And if we refuse? Asked the arachnid delegate. Taehyun smiled, but it wasn't a friendly expression. Then you'll learn why humans spent 50 years studying your weaknesses, while you spent 50 years underestimating our strengths. The test had begun, and humanity was about to show the galaxy what they had learned during 5 decades of careful, patient preparation. The message reached Earth exactly 18 hours after Jinwoo Park died. Ambassador Taehyun Lee sat in his office on Luna Station, reading the report for the 3rd time. His hands shook as he watched the security footage attached to the message. The video was clear and horrible. It showed Jinwoo trying to make peace, standing with his hands raised, speaking calmly even as the Vorthak commander threatened him. Then came the flash of energy and Jinwoo falling to the floor, while Dr. So Young Kim screamed. Taehyun had known Jinwoo personally. They had met during the Korean Unification War 20 years ago. Jinwoo had been a young combat engineer then, saving lives and building bridges, both real ones and the kind between people. After the war, Jinwoo chose to work in space, saying he wanted to build peace instead of fight wars. Sir? His assistant knocked on the door. Director Choi is here to see you. Director Min-ho Choi entered the office. He was a tall, serious man who ran Earth's colonial defense force. His face looked like it was carved from stone, but Taehyun could see anger burning in his eyes. You've seen the footage, Choi said. It wasn't a question. Yes. Taehyun set down the tablet. Jinwoo was a good man. He didn't deserve this. Good men rarely get what they deserve, Choi replied. But bad men always get what's coming to them. Eventually, they sat in silence for a moment. Outside the office window, Earth hung in space like a blue and white jewel. From here it looked peaceful, beautiful. It was easy to forget that the pretty planet below held 4 billion people who were about to become very angry. What's the official response from the Galactic Council? Choi asked. Taehyun pulled up another message on his tablet. The Ethereal Confederation calls it a workplace accident. They suggest we file a formal complaint and wait for the normal legal process. How long would that take? About 50 years if we're lucky. Choi laughed, but there was no humor in it. And what does the Vorthak government say? Commander Thekval has been promoted. The hegemony says he was maintaining order in Vorthak territory. They claim Jinwoo attacked first. Even though we have video showing the opposite, they say the video was faked. Choi stood up and walked to the window. Taehyun, you've been our ambassador for 12 years. You know these alien species better than anyone. In your professional opinion, do they see this as justice? Taehyun considered carefully. No, they see it as a test. The Vorthak killed one of our people in front of witnesses, broke galactic law and lied about it. Now they're watching to see what we do. And if we do nothing, Then every human in space becomes a target. We'll be seen as weak prey, just like Thekval said. Choi nodded slowly. I thought so. He turned back to Taehyun. I have a meeting with the Earth Defense Council in 2 hours. They'll want to know our options. Diplomatic options are limited, Taehyun said honestly. The galactic legal system is controlled by species that don't much like humans. They see us as newcomers who got too successful too quickly. What about economic pressure? We could try trade sanctions, but most alien species don't depend on human goods. We're useful, but not necessary. Choi was quiet for a long moment. What if we weren't just useful? What if we were necessary? Before Taehyun could ask what that meant, Choi's communicator buzzed. Sir, Captain Kang is here. Send him in. Captain Hyun-soo Kang entered the office. He was younger than the other 2 men, but his face looked older than his years. His eyes were red from crying, and his uniform was wrinkled like he had been traveling without rest. Hyun-soo, Taehyun said gently. I'm so sorry about Jinwoo. He was my brother, Hyun-soo said simply. My older brother. When we were kids, he always protected me from bullies. He said fighting was sometimes necessary, but it should never be the first choice. He lived by that belief, Choi said. Yes, he did. Hyun-soo's voice was steady, but his hands were clenched into fists, and it got him killed by an alien who thinks humans are weak. What do you want to do about it? Choi asked. I want to take my ship to Vorthak Prime and demand justice. I want to look Thekval in the eye and make him answer for what he did. Taehyun frowned. Hyun-soo, that could start a war. Maybe. Hyun-soo met his eyes. But doing nothing will definitely start one. Just a slower, more shameful kind of war where humans die one by one while aliens learn they can kill us without consequences. Choi walked back to his desk and activated a secure communication link. Dr. Nam, please join us in Ambassador Lee's office. A few minutes later, Dr. Yoon-ji Nam arrived. She was a small, quiet woman who ran Earth's Xenobiology Research Division. Most people didn't pay much attention to her, which was exactly how she liked it. Doctor, Choi said, how much do we really know about alien weaknesses? Dr. Nam raised an eyebrow. That's a very specific question, Director. Jinwoo Park was murdered by a Vorthak commander who believes humans are weak prey. I want to know if he's right. Dr. Nam sat down and pulled out her own tablet. For 50 years, humans have been the galaxy's farmers, miners, traders, and diplomats. We've been invited into alien homes, shown their technology, learned their languages. We've studied their biology, their psychology, their military tactics. And every species has weaknesses. The Vorthak, for example, have excellent reflexes but poor strategic planning. They're warriors, but they fight like individuals, not teams. Their technology is powerful but simple. They prefer direct attacks over complex strategies. She scrolled through her data. The Ethereal Confederation has incredible mental abilities, but they're so old they've become arrogant and slow to adapt. The crystalline beings are nearly immortal, but they think in geological time. What seems urgent to us might not seem important to them for decades. You've been cataloging all of this? Taehyun asked. Of course. It's basic xenobiology. Know your neighbors, understand their strengths and limitations. It helps with diplomacy and trade. Choi smiled for the first time that day. It also helps with other things. Dr. Nam looked at him sharply. Director, I hope you're not suggesting— I'm not suggesting anything yet, Choi interrupted. But I want you to prepare a complete analysis of every major alien species. Their military capabilities, their supply lines, their political structures, everything. That will take time. How much time? Dr. Nam thought. Working around the clock with my full team? Maybe a week for the basic analysis, a month for the detailed version. Start with the basic version. Focus on species that have shown hostility toward humans. After Dr. Nam left, the 3 men sat in silence. Finally, Taehyun spoke. Are we really considering war? We're considering options, Choi said. Jinwoo tried peace. They killed him for it. Maybe it's time to try something else. The galaxy has 47 major species, Taehyun pointed out. Earth has one. The math doesn't look good. Hyun-soo smiled grimly. My brother was always good at math. He taught me that numbers don't tell the whole story. Sometimes one person who refuses to give up can beat 100 people who don't really want to fight. This isn't one person, Taehyun said. This is an entire planet. Exactly, Choi said. An entire planet that just learned what happens when you kill one of their people. A planet that's been preparing for this day without even knowing it. Taehyun looked confused. What do you mean? Choi activated his communicator again. Admiral Bay, please prepare the merchant fleet for immediate recall. Authorization Omega-7. Sir, came the reply. That will expose our defensive positions. No, Choi said quietly. It will reveal them. As the call ended, Taehyun began to understand. For 50 years, humans had been spreading across the galaxy as peaceful traders and settlers. But peace didn't mean defenseless. And being friendly didn't mean being foolish. Jin-Woo Park had died believing in cooperation and understanding. Now the galaxy would learn what happened when they killed someone who 4 billion humans had loved and respected. The test was about to begin, and humanity was about to show they had been studying for it longer than anyone realized. Jin-Woo Park wiped the sweat from his forehead as he checked the mining equipment one last time. The massive drills hummed quietly in the artificial atmosphere of Kepler 442b mining station. After 5 years working here, he knew every sound the machines made. Today they sounded perfect. Another good day, he said to himself, smiling. Jin-Woo loved his work. As chief engineer, he kept the station running smoothly. But more than that, he helped different alien species work together. This was something most people said was impossible. The Kepler station was special. Humans, Vorthak, crystalline beings, and 6 other species all worked side by side. They mined rare metals that powered ships across the galaxy. Everyone followed the same rules. Everyone got paid fairly. It was like a small piece of peace in a big, complicated universe. Jin-Woo walked through the main corridor, nodding to his co-workers. There was Velmar, a tall crystalline whose body looked like living glass. She managed the transport schedules. Next to her stood Gox, a short furry being from the mollusk worlds. He ran the food distribution center. Good morning, Jin-Woo, Velmar said. Her voice sounded like wind chimes. The morning shift reports are ready. Thank you, Jin-Woo replied. He had learned to speak several alien languages over the years. It made work easier, but it also made friends. How is your family on Crystalline Prime? My youngest just started school, she answered, her glass-like face brightening. She wants to be an engineer like you, Jin-Woo grinned. This was why he loved the station. People from different worlds, sharing their lives, building something together. His own children back on Earth would graduate from school soon. He planned to bring them here next year to see what their father had helped create. The peace was broken by loud voices from the mining sector. Jin-Woo frowned and hurried toward the sound. Arguments happened sometimes, but they were usually easy to fix. People got tired, stressed, or homesick. A kind word and fair treatment usually solved everything. But this was different. Commander Thekval stood in the center of the mining area, surrounded by 6 other Vorthak soldiers. The Vorthak were tall, reptilian beings with sharp teeth and claws. Their green scales gleamed under the station lights. Thekval was bigger than the others, with scars across his face that marked him as a veteran warrior. Around them, human miners had stopped working. They looked nervous but not afraid. These were tough people who had worked in space for years. Still, nobody wanted trouble. This sector belongs to the Vorthak hegemony, Thekval was saying, his voice deep and threatening. Humans have no right to mine here. Sir, that's not correct, said Dave Kim, one of the human shift supervisors. He held up a tablet showing the work assignments. The Galactic Trade Consortium gave us permission to mine sectors 7 through 12. We have all the proper documents. Thekval knocked the tablet from Dave's hands. The device clattered across the metal floor. I do not care about your papers, human. This is our territory. You will leave now. Jin-Woo stepped forward. He had dealt with territorial disputes before. Usually they happened because of misunderstandings or poor communication. The solution was to stay calm, show respect, and find facts both sides could agree on. Commander Thekval, Jin-Woo said politely, bowing slightly in the Vorthak style. I am Jin-Woo Park, the chief engineer. Perhaps we can solve this together. May I show you the mining contracts? Thekval turned his yellow eyes toward Jin-Woo. The commander was a head taller than the human, and his presence felt dangerous. But Jin-Woo had learned that showing fear only made problems worse. You dare speak to me as an equal, soft-skin? Thekval hissed. Humans are weak. You pretend to be civilized, but you are just prey animals playing at being important. We all work for the same consortium. Jin-Woo replied calmly. The contracts are very clear. Humans mine sectors 7 through 12. Vorthak mine sectors 1 through 6. Everyone else has their assigned areas. This system has worked well for 3 years. More workers were gathering now. Jinwoo could see So Young Kim, the station's human doctor, watching from near the medical center. There were also aliens from other species, crystalline beings, gaseous entities in their environmental suits, and others. Word was spreading that something was wrong. Your contracts mean nothing, Thekval said louder. The Vorthak are warriors. We take what we want. And we want this sector. But taking it would break galactic law, Jinwoo explained patiently. The consortium has rules that protect everyone. If we ignore them, the whole system falls apart. Thekval stepped closer. Jinwoo could smell the alien's breath, hot and sharp like burning metal. Let me teach you something about power, human. Your laws, your contracts, your cooperation. They only work because warriors like me allow it. But we are tired of pretending that weaklings deserve respect. Strength and cooperation are not opposites, Jinwoo said. Working together makes everyone stronger. That's why this station produces more than any other mining operation in the sector. Working together, Thekval repeated mockingly. He turned to address the growing crowd. Look at this human. He thinks his soft words and careful manners make him strong. He believes that being nice will solve all problems. The other Vorthak soldiers laughed. It was a harsh, barking sound. Thekval pulled out his energy weapon, a sleek device that hummed with deadly power. This is real strength. This is how the galaxy truly works. The strong take what they want. The weak serve or die. Commander, please, Jinwoo said, raising his hands peacefully.
Violence won't solve this problem.
We can contact the consortium office. They can explain the agreements. Nobody needs to get hurt. Hurt? Thekval's scarred face twisted into what might have been a smile. I am not going to hurt you, human. I'm going to make an example of you. The energy weapon powered up with a high whine. Around the room, people gasped and stepped back. Jinwoo stood still, his hands raised, still hoping to find peaceful words. Your weakness disgusts me, Thekval said. Humans pretend to be equals in this galaxy, but you are just soft prey. It is time everyone remembered that. The weapon fired. Jinwoo fell to the metal floor, his body burned by alien energy. So Young Kim screamed and ran toward him, but it was too late. The chief engineer, who had spent 5 years building peace between species, was dead. Thekval holstered his weapon and looked around the silent room. Let this be a lesson to all of you. Humans are weak. The Vorthak are strong. Remember this when you decide who to obey. As Jinwoo Park's life ended on a distant mining station, nobody in the room knew that his death would change the entire galaxy forever.